You're listening to the Dollop. This is a bi-weekly American history podcast, and each week, I, frisbee thrower,
oh good lord,
dog owner,
oh my god,
elephant video watcher, Dave Anthony, reads a story from American history to his friend,
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about, except for this week, when I think I do. Brought a little whiskey for this one, David.
So this episode is about Donald Trump, who a lot of people have said we shouldn't talk about politics, but I don't consider him to be a politician anymore. I think he passed that by a long time ago. And I think that when you bring the level of white supremacy he has in, and when you enjoy the sweet flavor of Nazis, then I really don't give a flying fuck about politics. This isn't like me taking on Obama, who I'm not a fan of, or Hillary, or Rubio, or Bush. This guy's on another level, and he is a level of criminality we've never seen, and a level of just insanity that should be talked about in one body. So that being said, he likes to sue people. He's a big fan of suing. So all of this information in here is allegedly true.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. See, we can all play that game. Words are fun, and this is all alleged.
Yeah. Some people are saying.
Anyway.
I like the guy a little.
June 14th, 1946.
Oh,
Donald John Trump was born in Queens, New York.
This is so weird already. This is the president.
The fourth of five children.
Okay.
His parents were Frederick Christ Trump.
Whoa.
They went big.
Newsflash.
They went big.
Wow.
I mean, the parents went big.
Why even give Christ is the middle name?
Yeah, went middle.
Okay.
And Mary Ann Trump. Fred dyed his hair and kept it a little longer than the average man, combing it in a smooth wave away from his head.
Okay. What does that mean?
That
he
means
just had a...
Let me describe how Fred wore his hair.
Okay.
He dyed his hair.
Right.
And it was a little longer than average.
Right.
And he combed it into a smooth wave away from his head. Does that ring any...
No, I mean, the only thing I would think is like, you were talking about Donald Trump, but he's got beautiful hair.
Fred's parents were German immigrants. His father died when he was 12 in 1918, and Fred spoke German.
Okay.
But said he was Swedish.
Okay. Did he? Okay, sure.
On Memorial Day in 1927, fights erupted in New York, led by the Italian fascist movement and the Ku Klux Klan.
It's who's who.
2 Italian men were killed by anti-fascists in the Bronx, while in Queens, 1,000 robed Klansmen marched through Fred's Jamaica neighborhood, which also led to a huge brawl. 7 men in that fight were arrested.
Okay.
One of those men was Fred Trump.
What?
According to the Daily Star, quote.
Fred Christ Trump?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quote, on a charge of refusing to disperse from a parade when ordered to do so.
That's a hard, they say parade.
Yeah, it makes it sound like he was in something.
Yeah, right. And
That
also
quote.
parade, I think we should start limiting parade to happier events.
Yeah, it's not parade-ish.
Yeah, there's
Doesn't
not
have the
balloons.
feel. I would love it, though, if there on the outside of the Klansmen, there was a clown.
Yeah.
Hey,
what? I think I read the thing wrong. What are we marching for, guys? Scruffles wants to know.
That was loud. You okay, Aaron? Okay.
Scruffles wants to know what you guys want to see me pull a chicken out of my pants?
Scruffles, we're here to march against black people.
Well, Scruffles doesn't hate blacks. Scruffles loves everybody. You want a poodle balloon?
No.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've always liked white people better.
Okay, Scruffles, get in here.
All right.
Can you make me a white balloon animal?
Oh, sure.
Just make it a guy.
Okay. I'm giving him weird hair.
So Fred was a successful real estate developer. He owned most of his money building low to middle priced homes and apartments in Brooklyn and Queens.
Okay.
But Fred was not a self-made man. His mother, Elizabeth, started the Trump family business, and Fred a partner. She made Fred a partner when he was 15. The original name was Elizabeth Trump and Son.
Okay.
So he didn't.
So
So we would call that not a self-made man.
Right. Okay, right.
When your mommy starts a business for you.
And calls it Elizabeth and Son? That's like on Shark Tank when a kid comes in and he's like 12 years old and he made like dog biscuits.
Yeah.
And they're like, he did it all by himself,
on
guys.
his own. He's great.
He's just crazy.
When FDR created the Federal Housing Administration in the 1930s, Fred made use of the loan subsidies cranking out homes.
Okay.
The Brooklyn Daily Eagle called him, quote, the Henry Ford of home building.
All right.
He started slapping the name Trump on buildings he made.
Well, that's a genetic.
He, in July 1939, he had a 65-foot yacht covered in Trump signs pull up close to Coney Island and blare the Star-Spangled Banner.
Whoa.
And God Bless America repeatedly.
Oh, wow. All right. So he does love America.
This forced sunbathers who didn't want to be seen as unpatriotic to stand and salute over and over and over.
That is actually a great prank. We should be doing that now to just like pull up and just like press people on their patriotism by just cranking the Star-Spangled Banner.
I mean, the best.
It really, it's always,
all of these guys who are complaining about people taking a knee. We should just go wherever they are and just start cranking the.
What does it matter? You taking knees? I'm on vacation. We'll stand up.
Stand up. You love it.
I've always found it strange how we have to stand up for the fact that you even play the national anthem before a sporting event has always seemed a little bizarre.
Wouldn't it make more sense in America for when you played the Star-Spangled Banner or God Bless America that you would just sit around and eat?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's when you get a mug of nacho cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, hurry up, Star-Spangled Banner.
Get the cheese ready.
Yeah.
So Fred was given a summons and for advertising without a license and fined $2.
Okay.
So he was doing it to drive people to his new homes or whatever.
But he's also associating himself with red-blooded patriotism.
Fuck yeah, he is.
Right.
Donald grew up in a 23-room house.
Good Lord.
Like most of us.
Good God.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah, his dad built it.
No wonder the White House is a dump to him. This dump? It's only 18 bedrooms.
It had 9 bathrooms.
It seems a little light for 23.
Well, there's 7 people in the family.
Okay. Wow.
So someone was double shitting.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm going to say it was Donald.
I think we know. Yeah, I think we know who. It's the guy eating all the chicken skin.
So it was in the posh neighborhood of Jamaica, Queens.
Okay.
The Trumps had a cook, a African-American chauffeur.
Okay.
An intercom system in the house.
Sure.
And at this time, it's kind of crazy. And a color television before most people even had a television.
Well, wait, I thought they didn't like colors.
Not those kind of colors.
Oh, sorry.
They were also early adapters of the custom license plate. Their 2 Cadillacs had license plates FCT1 and FCT2.
Fred Christ Trump.
Right. I would have just gone with
1 and
Christ.
2.
So,
isn't that illegal advertising?
Just saying you're Christ?
Mm.
Well, was he?
We'll find out, I guess.
We will find out after this message.
Talk space.
So Donald's mother, Mary, was a Scottish immigrant. She loved attention and thrust herself to the center of social gatherings. She was always impeccably dressed and, quote, had a flair for the dramatic and grand.
Okay. It already is so interesting to know, like, what he's around as a kid.
Donald would later credit his mother's love of pomp and circumstance as an inspiration for his ultimate showman style.
Sure. No, I think everyone thinks of him as a showman.
Yep.
Big showman.
The Trumps forbade their children from cursing and calling each other by nicknames.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
You're not cursing, I get.
Huh?
No nicknames.
Donald was given a name. You can't call him Donnie. He was given the name of Donald.
What about Trump? That's a nickname. He's branded it.
Now it's later, but that's also his name. Like if you called him Trumpy or Trumpet, that would be upsetting.
Pumpkin Man. Anything? Nothing?
No.
Okay. Keep swinging.
Fred ruled, quote, ruled with a steel will. A longtime friend said, quote, it was not a loving atmosphere.
Oh, boy. That's sad.
He was not a warm person. He was stern and formal. He wore a tie and jacket at home and had a well-cropped military-type mustache. He would sometimes wear his suit to the beach.
Okay, wait. So that's awful. I wear shoes to the beach. I'm like, this is a nightmare. A suit. Gotta be dying.
I mean, yeah, there should be a funeral if you have a suit on at the beach.
You have to just be like, it has to. I mean, that to me, that feels like a punishment.
Hey, Fred, a little formal, or?
I think you're a little informal.
This is a white suit, my friend. Linen. I am cutting loose today.
Sure.
Woo, this weather, huh?
Put your keys in my top hat, kids. No nicknames either while we're on the beach, goddammit.
Well, yes, I do have my wallet.
Yeah.
Right here in my breast pocket. Fred always wanted to impress people with his brain. And would dare people to give him enormous numbers so he could calculate them in his head in front of them.
And was he good at it? Because that to me
must
would
have
be
been
just the best if it was terrible.
He must have been, but also that is a sign that you might be batshit crazy.
I don't know, Dave. Give me two numbers.
4 and 9.
13. See how
Yeah,
fast
it is
that was?
13.
That was good.
Yeah. Fred also had theories about life. He believed and taught his children the idea of the racehorse theory of human development.
So he was a racist.
The Trumps were taught to believe there are superior people, and if you breed a superior man with a superior woman, you get superior offspring.
Oh, boy. This is,
What?
jackets off. So, okay. Just not a great start.
Fred also believed that life was a competition, which meant there were winners and there were losers.
Okay, pretty. It's just so weird.
He called the winners killers, and this is how he ran the household.
The winners were killers.
Mhm.
Okay, no nicknames though. Careful, easy, FCT.
If you did not win, you lost, meaning losing meant you were nothing and that you didn't matter. So Donald always tried to be a winner.
Okay.
His brother said that if he built the tower blocks, Donald would just knock them down.
Well,
Now,
that's telling.
the
Was it Jenga?
Yeah.
Okay. then it's
early
different.
Jenga. He invented
It's
Jenga.
different then,
I
yeah.
made Jenga.
Jenga's mine.
So if you breed a superior man and a superior woman and you get a superior offspring, that's also what we would call eugenics.
I was going to say it sounds like eugenics from
It
previous,
is eugenics. That's exactly what he's describing.
So, well, I guess, and we are saying this man is mildly racist to some extent.
Sure, we could say mildly.
Okay, sure. So then if you have, that would make me think that you only wanted them to be with whites.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm really good at doing math in my head, as you saw earlier when
I
I
saw
got
it.
13, like a gun on my hip.
Well, you
Aaron,
got
I think you'll attest
13,
that.
but sure.
Well, I'm having a beer, Dave. I'm 13. What do you want, man, huh?
On Sundays, the Trumps would attend Marble Collegiate Church in
Great
Manhattan,
church.
where the head pastor was Norman Vincent Peale, the author of The Power of Positive Thinking, a pillar of American self-help culture in the 1950s.
Okay.
Peale had a populist touch and was criticized as teaching simplistic answers and promoting the idea that difficult problems would be dealt with by repeating phrases.
Whoa. Okay. That's, what,
Huh?
how does that work?
How does that work?
You just are just whatever, you have a mantra?
Well, I mean,
It's a little like transcendental meditation in a way.
it would be like if you kept saying, "No, this is tremendous. This drink is tremendous. This drink is tremendous."
Oh, boy.
Hey, have you tried this tea?
No.
It's tremendous.
Okay. All right. Is it T-Mendes?
Tremendous.
Trump-Mendes.
A lot of business executives were drawn to Peale and his can-do theology. So he was a church man of God who business executives loved.
He preached the business secret.
Always a good sign.
Right.
And what Jesus ultimately was looking for.
Well, ultimately, Jesus was a businessman, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, think of all the profiting he did off of the lepers.
Huge profit.
I mean, that's, yeah. I'm going to sell these arms. We're going to get rid of these legs. Everything must go.
The minister wrote, quote, "I know that with God's help, I can sell vacuum cleaners."
Oh, God. Wow.
He became known as God's salesman.
At least we bury it better now. Right? At least now we're selling like magic cloths and shit.
So Donald soaked all this in. When he was in elementary school, he was the tallest kid in his class, and he was very confident.
Uh-huh.
A former classmate said Donald was, quote, "a little shit,"
Okay.
while a neighborhood described him as, quote, "a bully."
Okay.
Young Donald would not acknowledge any mistakes.
Well, I think we can all say it's nice that he shook that.
Yes. Once he called the popular pro wrestler Antonio Oroca Rocky Antonio, and he refused to give in when the other children pointed it out and then started to ridicule him. He insisted the wrestler's name was Rocky Antonio.
Oh, boy. Oh, God. This is mildly tough in a way.
Much later in life, Trump would say he is exactly the same as he was when he was 5.
It
Quote,
wouldn't surprise me if when he got money, he actually made a wrestler called Rocky Antonio to just be like, see?
Yeah, there
From
he
my
is.
youth.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Quote, when I look at myself in the first grade and I look at myself now, I'm basically the same.
Good Lord.
The
Why would you
temperament
say
is
that?
not that different. Right?
Yeah, why? I mean, even if
Why?
you believe that, why would you say that?
Hey, man, I'm the same as I was at 5.
Dude, why'd you knock my blocks over?
Like, you should never, ever want to be the same when you were 5. Because the thing about being a human is there is a tremendous amount of growth that occurs.
Think of what you were like in first grade.
He was a fucking asshole.
Dude, I remember so clearly when I was in first grade, or maybe a year before, pointing out to my teacher this picture I'd drawn of a dinosaur and a caveman, and her being like, no, they didn't hang out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, really?
That was pretty mean of her.
Yeah.
They did hang out.
And then I also remember at that age drawing a square
Mm-hmm.
on a piece of paper and showing it to my mother very proudly, and she was like so let down that I was still like, squares are possible. You believe it? I'm the same as I was then, though, Dave. Still excited when I draw a square.
Now, Donald and his siblings were being raised in luxury. When it rained and Donald had to deliver his newspapers, the chauffeur would drive him around.
So that's such an empty task. Why do that? What is the lesson there is like, we need him to get him a paper route. Jeeves?
It's just like part of learning a job is having to, that's the thing about a paper route. Like, you got to do it every day. Sometimes you got to put bags around them and tie them up in a fucking rubber band and go deliver them in the fucking rain. Like, you're learning to deal with adversity.
Right.
In this case, not so much.
In this case, he was just in the backseat of like a Rolls Royce, just being like, I think that one.
Yeah. Fred insisted everyone learn the family business. He worked 7 days a week and sometimes would put the kids in the car on a Sunday and drive them to a building site.
Okay.
Where they would pick up unused nails and other items off the ground because nothing went to waste.
Okay. I don't find that.
Okay.
Look, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But you could
Sure.
argue that's not sending a
Okay.
chauffeur on your paper route.
For the time,
Crazy?
it's borderline insanity.
Okay. Good to know.
When an Italian family, the Schifanos, moved to Jamaica Estates, Fred Trump Jr. said his parents had, quote, panicked because as Italians, the Schifanos were the first ethnic family to move into the neighborhood.
Nobody fuck them. Nobody fuck the Italians. Wow.
I just love the idea of being panicked because Italians have moved in.
Italians.
Yeah, no, it's fucked up.
Hey, Mr. Trump.
Hey, we're going to keep a meat bar in your driveway.
Hey, you let me know if you got any single ladies, huh? Oh, no, we don't. Oh, surely there's got to be a single woman around here. There's not. Don't fuck anything. What are you talking about?
Hey, I like a single lady.
Come on, all my single ladies. It's becoming Jamaican now.
Yeah, got a little weird. In December 1950, folk singer Woody Guthrie signed a lease at the Beach Haven apartment complex owned by Fred Trump.
Hippie alert.
It didn't take long.
Long hair.
Well, not long, but okay. It didn't take long before Guthrie was, quote, lamenting the bigotry that pervaded his new lily-white neighborhood. He wrote a song about Fred Trump.
What?
With the lyrics, I suppose old man Trump knows just how much racial hate he stirred up in the blood pot of human hearts when he drawed that color line here at his 1800 family project.
So rhyming wasn't a big thing.
No, they didn't care
either.
about rhyming. They're just making a point.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good to get a rhyme in there. Okay, so he moves in and he is right away just like, wow, this is White-topia.
Wow, Fred Trump's a motherfucker is what he says.
Okay.
These would be different lyrics today.
Right, for sure.
So Guthrie believed Fred Trump stirred up racial and hate and profited from it, and that blacks were not welcome in the apartment complex.
Okay. So And he got that impression because he saw no blacks in the apartment. Correct?
That would be a good
Okay.
reason.
Okay. Right.
In the 7th grade, Donald and a friend would take the subway.
7th grade. This does feel like time traveling. This
Sure.
one.
They'd take a subway into Manhattan without their parents' permission. They bought switchblades, wanting to be like the gangs in the Broadway hit West Side Story.
Okay. Cute.
Mm-hmm.
Cute.
When Fred found the knives and learned of the trips to the city, it was his breaking point with young Donald. Donald was sent to the New York Military Academy, a boarding school 70 miles away. He did not tell any of his friends that he was going. He was just gone one day.
Okay.
Normal?
Sure. Okay.
Normal. At the academy, life was strict. He had suddenly gone from a life of luxury with a family to military life. His superior would smack cadets with an open hand if they ignored him. And he set up a boxing ring and made students with poor grades and disciplinary problems fight each other.
Wow.
Like a gladiator situation.
Good Lord.
Yeah, just your typical children being gladiators.
So then you just have the children who are performing well go in the ring, and then the other kids who are performing well just sit there and watch?
Yeah, the kids who perform well would watch while the kids who weren't good at things would beat each other up.
Jeez.
I find it's helpful if a child isn't doing well at math to have a child not doing well at English beat the shit out of him.
Look, Dave, I couldn't empathize with someone who couldn't be good at math. Remember earlier you said 4 and 9, and I immediately human calculated it.
13.
Okay. 13. But did Trump box during that? Because I feel like I heard something like somewhere that he called himself an amazing boxer at some point.
He was a good athlete, but
he was a good athlete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trump sort of thrived in this environment of rigid military sort of structure.
Right.
He wanted to be noticed. He wanted to be recognized, and he liked compliments. So it all worked.
But he's changed.
A former classmate described the school as, quote, a culture of hazing. But Donald thrived here. He liked that there was a medal and prize for everything.
Well, shit, Dave. I'm not going to defend this guy on every point. I like a medal too.
Yeah. So does, you know what else? My dog does.
Yeah.
My dog likes a prize for everything.
That's nice. But if after every podcast you gave me a medal, I'd be like, thanks, man. That's pretty I did do good. Thank you, man. Thank you. Just have a big drawer of them. You see that? I did good. Look at this.
Donald won medals for neatness and got good grades.
Okay, now I'm going to turn on what I said. Those are weak medals. Look how neat I am.
He did well on the baseball and football teams. Classmates described Donald as a blend of friendly and cocky. He was promoted steadily but unremarkably in his first 4 years. One day he found a roommate's bed unmade on inspection duty.
Oh, nothing gets me mad.
And he got into a fight, and Donald tried to shove him out of a second-floor window.
Oh, shit.
But that happens. Does
that happen?
That's just like that. In my house, that's very much a common, like, don't have a messy bed, or I'll kill you.
Oh, because right, okay. I remember now you've told me you have thrown Finn out the window a few times.
Yeah. He has, he's in a wheelchair.
But you know what, he might be, but still, you can bounce a quarter off that bed now.
Bounce a fucking quarter off from his wheelchair. He can do it.
Right, absolutely.
In his senior year, Donald was appointed to the prestigious position of captain of a company. A fellow student said, quote, he was definitely privileged. That group of people got treated very much differently.
Okay.
Donald had a hands-off approach to the position, which led to underclassmen feeling at risk from all of the hazing that went on under his watch.
Oh, God.
When a cadet...
And by the way, this is like that era of hazing is like brooms go in holes.
It's there was just a broom closet that they called the Asswood closet.
Yeah. Welcome to Asswood. I graduated Asswood with a minor in neatness.
When a cadet finally complained about hazing, Donald was demoted, or as he calls it today, promoted.
Whoa, no, what? How? Genius. Okay.
More importantly, Donald was named a ladies' man in the senior yearbook.
Okay.
Hugh Hefner was a role model for many of the cadets.
Well,
Fred wanted all of his kids to go into the family business, and it was assumed Fred Jr. would take over as his older brother.
Okay.
But when Fred Jr. ordered new expensive windows for a job, instead of fixing the old broken ones, Fred Sr. lost his shit.
Yeah, he should just go to a work site and pick up old glass.
Right. Fred Jr. decided to become an airplane pilot instead.
Oh, wow. And is that okay? He did?
I mean, that was apparently the breaking point, but yeah, after that, he became an airline pilot. And this opened the door for Donald to take over.
Okay.
Fred Jr. did not share the temperament or business interests of his father and brother. After the academy, Donald went to Fordham University for 2 years and then to the Wharton School, which had a real estate studies department. Oh, can you imagine the joy of studying real estate at college? Just soaking in that kind of awesome atmosphere.
Yeah. How much of that is devoted to just keeping sandwiches out when you're showing a house? What would you do, Tracy? I'd put out, I'm buckling, sandwiches. Cane her.
Where are your photos?
They're, oh, God damn it.
No! Oh, boy, did I just break everything?
Yeah.
So he also, because he was in school, he got deferments from the draft because there was a Vietnam situation happening.
Right. Haven't heard of it, but okay.
He also worked at the family business while he was in school.
Okay.
Now,
so he does work hard, it sounds like, kind of.
He's a worker.
Yeah, okay.
Donald worshipped Fred.
Okay.
Loves his dad.
Sure.
Though a friend called their communication style, quote, very strange. Quote, they were both talking supposedly to each other, but I was sure neither heard what the other was saying.
Is that a conversation?
They talked right past each other.
Is that a conversation or is that that's almost just like two auctioneers battling?
I would pay money to watch that.
Yeah.
Fred Jr.
So do you understand what I'm saying about earlier today? We need to make sure that
right?
everything we're doing is as tight as it possibly could be. Otherwise, we're going to get behind again. Think of what happened in the fourth quarter. Think of what happened in the fourth quarter last year.
I like the game.
We got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about maybe we should think about the actual business. The court. Yeah.
The game.
No court. Right.
Anyway, we agreed. Yep.
There's teen.
Fred Jr. felt shut out by their relationship because who wouldn't in that great relationship?
Yeah.
Donald and his father would belittle.
Because he liked listening, maybe. Found that important.
Donald and his father would belittle Fred Jr. for becoming an airline pilot.
I can't imagine that. I bet you Fred's flying Air Force One for Donald right now so that he could just be like, what are you doing? Way off track.
Donald would say, quote, what is the difference between what you do and driving a bus?
Wow. Okay.
Well, okay. So first of all, training.
Yeah.
Flying. Do you know what flying is?
Yeah. I fly everywhere.
On an airplane, you fly in the air.
Yeah.
Not a bus.
Bus.
Okay.
Yep. It's
Fred Jr. started to drink heavily.
Okay. Well, that's bad for flying.
By the time Donald graduated from Wharton in 1968, he had about $200,000 from working in the family business.
Okay.
So he continued working and learning from Dad, who a New York legislative committee now accused of using state money earmarked for housing to build a shopping center.
Okay.
Which is you're not supposed to do.
Well, are people living in the shops is the question.
That is a good question.
So how many people are in the Spencer's Gift?
Yeah, who's living at Sears?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fred had connected friends and was known to make backroom deals. One New York lawmaker called Fred Trump, quote, greedy and grasping.
Okay.
And he kept up those practices that Woody Guthrie had sung about so many years before. Two former Trump employees said they were told that the company only wanted to rent to Jews and executives.
Wow.
You could put that on the ad. Dear Jews and executives.
And executives.
Yeah.
I would imagine that they would not like Jews.
Oh, but in their thinking, Jews have money.
Money. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they gotcha. Yeah. But no fucking them.
No, you don't fuck the Jews.
No.
Oh, good Lord, no.
Oh, good Lord.
And he, quote, discouraged rental to blacks. They were told that, quote, a racial code was in effect. Blacks would be referred to as number 9.
Whoa. What?
Yeah. So, hey, I don't think you should rent to them. They're number 9.
Number 9.
Hello, number 9. How are you?
I'm good. My wife and I are just here to look at one of your lovely apartments.
There's two 9s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're not. I'm sorry. Are you rating us on attractive?
Maybe head out the back door.
I'd love to look at the unit first because we were
a porch and no rail, and just go ahead and take a walk around. That's for the 9s. Hi. Excuse me, you were looking me in the eyes a minute ago. Is that something that should be happening?
I'm just not sure what.
In the eyes again.
Are you a 9?
Oh, sir. Don't ever talk to me like that.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we'll keep looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
Because you're.
I'm sure there's a 9 place for 9s.
I swear to God, 9 means black, honey. Let's get out of here.
No.
Don't touch us.
A rental agent said Fred told him to take applications from black people and just leave them in a drawer.
God.
It's hard to rent that way.
Yeah.
Another employee, a superintendent, was told to mark each application with the letter C.
C for
Colored.
Oh God! But it is tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 1967, a state investigation concluded that out of 3,700 apartments in Trump Village, only 7 were occupied by black people.
Higher than I thought it would be with that policy. I'm not gonna lie. That's so weird. What are and those 7 they're just extremely affluent or something?
No, we'll get to why they're there.
Okay.
At another Trump housing project in Cincinnati in 1969. Now, this is the first sort of project that Donald Trump is taking an active role in the forefront of doing stuff. So a young black couple were repeatedly rejected. The black couple then had a white couple go in with the same, same information or very similar information.
Application, right?
And they immediately were rented too.
Okay.
They then brought the black guy in, who was waiting in his car outside, and the rental agent completely lost his shit. He shoved them all out of the office and called the white woman a nigger lover and a traitor to the race. She recently said, quote, "To this day, I have not forgotten the fury in his voice and in his face." The black couple sued the Trumps.
That's good.
Now, even Fred had not been this bad. And when a situation like discrimination popped up, he would quell the situation by offering an apartment to the accuser.
Sure, right. Terrible.
And that's how the 7 got in.
Better, right? Okay, that's how the 7 got in.
Donald was not interested in that approach.
Okay.
Quote, "I'd rather fight than fold because as soon as you fold once, you get the reputation for being a folder."
Oh, boy.
And I am not a folder.
You're not a what?
I'm not a folder.
Who told you were? Relax.
You're fold.
What? I didn't fold anything. Fold this laundry, will you?
In his affidavit, he said there was no discrimination. They just didn't rent to, quote, welfare cases, white or black.
Does he not? Okay, first of all, not true, right? Second of all, not a good excuse.
I mean,
I'm not against anyone except poor.
Poor fucking people make
Good
me.
Lord, it's the poor.
Who in here likes poor people?
The poor, see?
And then he throws monocle across the room.
This season, Chevy brings classic pairings, cookies and milk, mistletoe and kisses, and your holiday plans and a new Chevy. Silverado 1500 gives you power and capability with 430 pound-feet of torque to haul your holiday tree. Equinox EV and the all-new Equinox offer award-winning quality and style to see you through the holiday season. See why Chevy makes everything better and brighter. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Because his dad was focused on the boroughs, 23-year-old Donald saw...
Are we going to get audited after this?
We might get sued.
Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. I'll do a thing up top.
Oh, God.
23-year-old Donald saw Manhattan as a place he could conquer without having to compete with his daddy, right?
Okay.
So daddy's in the boroughs, and he's like, oh, I'll do Manhattan.
Okay.
Why not start with Broadway?
Sure.
He contacted a producer, and with his $200,000 he had from the family business, he paid for half the cost of a play called Paris is Out. I mean, it's a good name. Already I'm interested. Paris is Out.
Yeah. All right.
The only catch was that Trump's name had to be above the title and on the playbill.
What?
Donald Trump.
Paris is out.
Paris is out.
What? By the way, it's pretty weird because he pulled out of the Paris climate change.
Well, this is,
So
clearly foreshadowing.
yeah, he eventually did get his name on it.
The New York Times reviewer wrote, quote, I pitied it more than I disliked it.
I pitied it more than I disliked it.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's
Okay.
not
Good Lord.
That's a bad
I felt bad for him.
Review.
I felt really bad for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
The show was a flop, and Donald lost $70,000.
Okay.
Afterwards, he went back to real estate.
So Paris is in.
Paris is in.
All right.
And thankfully, now that he was out of school, he didn't have to go fight in Vietnam because despite having gotten a clean bill of health 2 years before and then just after graduating from college, during which he played several sports, he suddenly developed bone spurs in his heels.
Oh,
And
well.
was put low on the draft list.
By the way, think of what people in war go through when they're fighting in war.
Yeah.
Like bone spurs is like,
Oh, a lot of guys would be happy to just have bone spurs.
yeah, like that would be a dream.
Yeah.
But he can't serve because of it.
No, he had a little bone issue. But still could play sports. But it's
Sure.
different than
It's different.
than having to sit maybe in an office and just send papers. Like there's a lot of things you could do during a war.
Sure.
But
Yeah. Bone spur. Right. Okay.
after investigating the Justice Department, a suit against the Trumps for violating the Fair Housing Act of 1968 was filed. So
Is this from the couple previously? or this is
it's kind of all of it.
Okay.
The Justice Department said the Trumps violated the law, quote, by refusing to rent and negotiate rentals with blacks, requiring different rental terms and conditions because of race, and misrepresenting that apartments were not available. Donald was quoted for the very first time ever in the New York Times about the charges.
Okay.
Quote,
Nothing.
they are absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. There we go. So, sound bites.
Different. He sounds different.
Yeah. No, it sounds like the man's come a long way. That doesn't sound like a tweet.
Fred had become chairman of the board.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only guy who was speaking in 140 characters before Twitter. It was like, that's my limit.
Trump had become chairman of the board. Fred had become chairman of the board of the company in 1971, and then Donald was promoted to president of the company.
Fred, his father, was, wow, okay.
So he's chairman of the board now, and Fred is now president.
Okay.
And then Donald renamed it the Trump Organization.
Okay. There you go.
As president, Donald met defense attorney Roy Cohn, who had worked as a top aide to Senate Joseph McCarthy while he tried to find communists.
Well, but I think people don't understand how good Joseph McCarthy was.
He's a good guy. I mean, he was looking out for his
He was
country.
a Packers fan.
Huge Pack fan. Pack attack.
Okay.
Cohn was now no longer doing that. Instead, he was a mob lawyer with clients like Fat Tony Salerno, who was the boss of the Genovese crime family, and Paul Castellano, head of the second largest family, the Gambinos.
Okay.
So Trump retained this lawyer to handle his housing situation.
Sure. That's a good sign that everything's on the up and up.
So Cohn quickly filed a contempt of court charge against the prosecutor who was prosecuting for the discrimination.
Okay.
Accusing her of turning the investigation into a, quote, Gestapo-like interrogation. Ugh. Donald then countersued the Justice Department for $100 million in damages for defamation.
Jeez, $100 million? That's just, he works in big swings. He always has. I mean, but $100 million is bold. $100 million.
The judge quickly...
It's like Dr. Evil.
No, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, $100 million.
The judge quickly dismissed the countersuit.
On what grounds?
The legal back and forth continued for almost 2 years. Finally, the Trumps gave up. But Donald said he won because the government didn't find them guilty.
That is a win. That is
well, it is true. But that's also because that's not what happens in these type of cases. No one is found guilty.
Still, a win's a win,
no
baby. Don't take the win away.
Okay.
Don't take the win away. Was he found guilty?
No, but
it's a win. Ring the bell, Aaron. It's
okay,
a win.
But no one is ever found guilty in these types of cases.
Sorry, we're not talking about anyone ever. We're talking about Donald. Was he found guilty?
No.
W. That's a win. Ring the bell, Aaron. God damn it. Where's the bell? Is there not a bell in here?
Aaron, where's the bell?
Oh, I mean, it's okay. I guess they got the bell out of here.
In the settlement, the Trumps agreed to stop, quote, discriminating against any person in the terms, conditions, or privileges of sale or rental of a dwelling. They were ordered to provide the
court-mandated non-racism?
Yeah, they're like, you guys got to stop.
It's so racist. A judge has to tell you to stop.
It was basically a 3-year fight to go, stop the shenanigans.
Okay.
They ordered the Trumps to provide the New York Urban League with a weekly list of vacancies and to put advertising in local papers saying they would rent to people of all races.
Okay.
Now renting to all races.
No longer loathing blacks. Come down if you're a non-white.
I'm sorry, we're still loathing blacks, but we are renting to them.
Sorry, yes, we should change that. Loathing blacks will rent now, legally must.
Donald then tried to get the government to pay for the ads.
Okay. God damn, he really... Okay.
Quote, this advertising is a very expensive thing for us.
Very expensive thing for us.
It is really onerous. Each sentence we put in is going to cost us a lot of money over the period we are supposed to do it.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, no, that's part of
that's what your penance is.
Yeah, you're paying for something you... Yeah, okay, so there's a punishment for what you did.
No, we weren't found guilty.
This is... Okay.
Thank you.
In the end, the Trumps just ignored the order and kept discriminating.
Cool.
The ads they placed were not what they were supposed to be, and the stats they gave the Urban League were incomplete.
Okay.
2 years later, the government accused the Trumps of violating the decree. Basically, the Trumps just waited the government out, and the consent decree expired before the Justice Department could get enough evidence for a new case.
Good Lord. It's not airtight, our judicial system, is it?
No. You're going to actually find that out a lot in this episode.
Good.
At that point, the Trump Management Corporation owned over 14,000 apartment units in Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island.
That's fast.
Fred had always avoided Manhattan, and Donald saw that as his opportunity to make his name without competing with Dad. He set his sights on the big prize of Manhattan, and at that time, New York was a rundown, dilapidating shithole.
Okay.
Donald, now 30, focused on the failing Commodore Hotel on East 42nd Street next to Grand Central.
Okay.
The neighborhood was seedy. Donald did not have the capital for the project, so Daddy stepped in to guarantee part of the loan.
His father, Dave. You don't have to talk down to him.
Poppy.
It's his father.
Poppy.
Did
white dad.
Look, just how about Papa Christ?
White superior human daddy.
Jesus.
Hyatt put up a 50% stake.
Okay.
But Donald said he needed a tax break. The head of the state's Urban Development Corporation said no, to which Donald said he would have him fired.
Okay. So
then, using his father's connections, he put pressure on the guy to switch his position, and he did.
Of course.
The tax abatement was for over 35 years, and as of 2016 has cost the city $359.3 million in taxes.
Wow.
There's 4 years left on it.
God damn. What happens? Oh, yeah, that's going to be tough.
Donald was starting to get press. Most developers like to stay in the shadows.
Sure.
But Donald was different. His first mention in Variety was in 1975. The New York Times wrote about him in 1976.
Okay.
Quote.
Now they're failing, though. Failing New York Times.
No, this is much different than what...
Better New York Times, now failing.
Quote. He is tall, lean, and blonde with dazzling white teeth, and he looks ever so much like Robert Redford.
Oh, God. Trump?
He rides around town in a chauffeured silver Cadillac with his initials DJT on the plates.
Boy, I wish he was a DJ.
He dates slinky fashion models, belongs to the most elegant clubs, and at only 30 years of age estimates that he is worth more than $200 million.
Ugh. Good Lord.
So they really...
I mean, that even something as little as that is enough for a man's ego if you allow it to just explode. Something like that where they refer to you as a Robert Redford
Well,
type.
did he fucking write that? Like, it was actually a female reporter, which is crazy. But, like, Jesus Christ, that's like he fucking wrote it.
Yeah. Think about that doctor's letter he got.
Also,
once.
I've seen Robert Redford.
Yeah.
I've seen him with my face and my eyes. Like,
sure.
my things that work in my head that can see people.
No, we know what C means.
And I've seen Donald Trump.
Very similar.
When he was younger.
Very similar.
No.
Come on. Give it up.
Louise Sunshine joined Donald's real estate business.
So sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The name is Louise Sunshine?
Like, she was like really just like a ray of light.
Okay.
That would come in
every
day.
Sure. That's a made-up name, though, right?
No.
Okay.
Louise Sunshine joined Donald's real estate business in the 70s. She had a hard time with her weight, and Donald made sure he was involved in that.
Oh, of course.
Inside an office drawer, Donald kept an unflattering photo of her, which she called, quote, a fat picture. Donald would pull it out when he disapproved of something she did, and he would say, quote, you like your candy.
Oh, God.
What?
Good Lord.
You know what? There's ways to motivate people.
I have a little whiskey here.
There's just different ways to motivate people. You know what I mean?
Well, I would say this, right? Because there is a technique where like people will say, keep on your fridge a picture of you to motivate yourself.
Oh, that's
that you
you.
don't like the look of, but that's you, and it's also connected to food.
You know what?
It's not connected to like if you do something bad, being like, "Come on, fatty."
What if every time you open up your fridge, your boss popped out and went, "You like fat, fatty, fat, fat?"
Oh God! I turned this all into a development site inside your fridge. No blacks.
So Donald was shooting up as a businessman.
I was hoping we were entering the heroin phase.
And his brother Freddie was in free fall. His drinking became...
Not while flying.
No.
Oh, thank God.
His drinking became worse and worse, and he was now divorced and had stopped flying because he knew his drinking was a danger to passengers.
Glad we still have that attitude with pilots today.
Freddie tried to be a commercial fisherman in Florida, but failed.
Okay.
He moved back in with his parents in Jamaica Estates and started working on one of Fred Singer's maintenance crews.
Okay. My guess is that
that's
old Donald is going to be pretty humble about this whole thing.
That's just bad.
Yeah.
It
is bad because this environment this family's created where if you're not number one, you're a loser.
Right. So, yeah, that's exactly right. So you're a loser if you just come in second in something. Right. Now here's this guy who was supposed to be running the business is now essentially on a cleanup crew while his brother is doing giant deals. And it's like, of course things aren't going to go well for
Surely Fred. Donald kept a picture in his drawer of Freddie in some sort of janitorial gear. Just like, huh? You like mopping. Don't you, Freddie? You like mopping.
Fred told Donald, quote, don't ever drink, and Donald never did.
That is one thing I've always heard about him, that it is, and it's not that someone has to drink, but when I look at him, I'm like, I wish he had.
Yeah.
I'll have one for him.
In 1976, Donald met Ivana Zelnikova at a nightclub. She was a divorce model from Czechoslovakia.
Okay.
Ivana said she was an alternate on the Czech ski team during the 1972 Winter Olympics, but the Czech Olympic Committee said, quote, we have searched so many times and have consulted many, many people, and there is no such girl in our records.
Well, I think Donald's found a match.
Naturally, they fell in love and got engaged. Just before the wedding, Donald surprised Ivana with a prenuptial agreement.
Uh-huh.
She would get $20,000 a year if things didn't work out.
Wow. Okay, so he's really...
She didn't accept it, and they haggled back and forth, and she got it up a bit. But then when she continued, Donald finally told her to take his first offer or leave it.
Wow, so even in the bedroom's the boardroom to Donnie.
Yeah, well, love is, just part of the business.
I would imagine bringing up a prenup is pretty difficult in general, let alone bringing up one where you're totally screwing your future ex-wife with it.
Yeah, it's an odd thing to do, but...
you get a fruit basket a month. Take it!
Take the basket.
Come on.
Anyway, she took it. Love is beautiful.
Love is beautiful.
Donald wanted a family exactly like the one he grew up in.
Okay, so we're talking 7 bathrooms, 29 rooms?
Quote, I want 5 children. Like in my own family, because with 5, then I know that one will be guaranteed to turn out like me.
No, that's not how this works.
I have a book coming out called Things That You Shouldn't Say Out Loud That I Say Out Loud.
Oh, man. Soon it'll be a Twitter. Wow, that's crazy. Are these being... This has got to be said in jest a little bit, right?
No.
This is genuinely a plan.
This is genuinely a plan.
Okay.
Donald asked his brother Fred to be the best man at his wedding.
Sorry, will you clean the tables when we're done? Stupid.
I'm going to shit my hand if you could get rid of that for me, Fred.
Fred, which one's the salad fork? Look at stupid. Hey, don't make me pull out the picture of you, fatty. You like candy.
He hoped that giving his brother such an honor would, quote, be a good thing for him.
Oh, God.
But it turns out being the best man at a wedding for your successful brother while you clean up at a construction job doesn't turn things around.
I can't imagine. Yeah.
Fred kept drinking.
I bet he did. And there's no way this wedding's open bar. Every little bit.
Donald and Ivana would have 3 kids. He allegedly gave Ivana a cash bonus of $250,000 for each child she cranked out.
What is this, an NFL contract? who uploads a prenup with incentives? I mean, you know what? Does she get a signing bonus?
Well, he wanted 5, so he's got to make that, he's got to make that happen somehow.
Sure. God, it really feels like a loving relationship.
It sounds beautiful. Donald kept the same money outlook throughout their entire marriage. Quote, I would never buy Ivana any decent jewels or pictures. Why give her negotiable assets? That was actually part of my vows.
With Heather?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I will never give you negotiable assets.
Yeah. Do you, Dave, promise to give her $20,000 a year if this doesn't work out? 5 children, so one turns out like you, and 0 negotiable assets?
That's it. Yeah, that's me.
We'll take it. Your brother's passed out in the lawn.
That's my boy.
Yeah, thank you for everything, big brother.
Ivana focused on appearances and tried to be the perfect Trump wife. As they grew more famous, Ivana started giving out a press kit to interviewers full of flattering clips.
Clips of...
them.
Okay, so like propagandist reels?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Normal?
Normal stuff.
Yep.
In 1979...
Let me know when you finish the infomercial, then we can do interview.
In 1970... What, is that an actual...
It's Czech, yes, Czech.
It is?
Yes, Czech Republic. Yes. Try on the Rosetta Stone.
In 1979, Donald got his hands on the old Bonwit.
Big hands. Not small.
I feel like you went somewhere else. Oh, I said hands. In 1979, Donald got his hands on the old Bonwit Teller building on Fifth Avenue. He wanted to tear it down and build Trump Tower, which would be the city's tallest glass structure.
Okay.
Through a foreman, he hired around 200 Polish immigrants to clear the site.
Okay.
Donald showed the foreman how to set up a new company for payroll, what insurance to get, and negotiated the hours they would work.
Okay.
They worked 12-hour shifts, 7 hours a day. 12-hour shifts.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. And were paid $4 to $5 per hour.
Okay.
Which was half of what union workers would make at the time.
Okay. So
Most of the Polish workers did not have hard hats.
Oh, God.
And other safety equipment. Many used sledgehammers instead of jackhammers.
Good Lord.
I tell you what, if I ever get the chance to take a building down, I'm going to hire a couple hundred immigrants and have them take that shit down with hammers.
Yeah, well, I think internationally that policy is definitely stopped as far as torturous labor for nothing. Was he taking their passports in a bag, too?
Oh, God.
But it also just seems kind of foolish to not give jackhammers, right? That just would be faster for you as far as hourly rate goes.
You'd think so.
Right. Okay. Continue,
Many of the Polish workers slept at the site.
Cool.
Usually non-union workers would bring a picket line in New York City.
Okay.
After all, the mob controlled construction at the city at the time, and that's how they made their money.
Okay.
But not this site. The mobbed-up union just stayed away.
Interesting. So they just didn't want to get involved in that one, huh? Just a gut feeling?
Well, remember he had a lawyer?
Yeah.
Donald had a lawyer?
Yeah.
Who maybe also represented some
the
Genovese crime family?
And the Gandolfinis or something?
Just a coincidence.
Sure.
The workers started being paid inconsistently, so they hired a lawyer.
Okay.
By June, their unpaid wages were over $100,000, and they threatened to stop working. So Donald sought out a labor fixer, saying he had, quote, some illegal Polish employees on the job. The consultant said to fire them.
Okay.
Donald did not.
Okay.
June 27, 1980, the Polish workers' lawyer served Trump with a mechanics lien. Now, mechanics lien would give a laborer partial claim to the title of a property on which he has worked.
Okay.
If he's not paid.
Sure.
Donald finally fired the workers and hired union guys to get the building down.
Okay.
This was easy because he decided to just not pay the Polish immigrants their $100,000.
Jesus.
Their lawyer put up a second and third lien on the property, and one day, the lawyer told a Trump employee that under the Fair Labor Standards Act, Donald couldn't sell any space in the tower until the Polish workers were paid.
Okay.
45 minutes later, the lawyer got a call from a Mr. Barron,
Okay.
who worked in Donald's legal department. Mr. Barron said Donald was going to sue the lawyer for $100 million
Oh, God. What? Come on. Get your figures right a little bit.
for wrongful filing of liens. He then threatened to call the Immigration and Naturalization Service and have the workers deported. The Polish workers never saw another cent.
And that's how it ended?
Over $100,000 in wages were unpaid, hours and hours of free labor. Donald would later admit at a trial that he and a senior executive would call people and say their name was Mr. Barron.
Oh, right. Oh, wait. Is this because he did have a fake...
Yeah, this is the fake name.
This is the fake guy. The guy who's just like got Donald Trump's voice, but is just not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Have you,
I didn't go too deeply into this. I just brought up this maybe another time. But he
is one
throughout
of
his
the-
entire career, he constantly called people and said he was Mr. Barron.
One of the things that, truly, I think, in a sense, you want to think the best of someone. So it was like, the campaign's going on. It really, when I was like, oh, this might be a little dangerous, was when that came out. The audio came out of him specifically being like, oh, this guy's unbelievable. He goes out with so many supermodels. I can't even name all the models he goes out with. He goes out with Madonna. He goes out with all these Madonna's trying to sleep with him, but he doesn't want to sleep with her. And they played it, and it's him. And they're like, what do you think of that? And he's like, it's not me. And it's like, dude, just own it. Just be like, yeah, I'm crazy. Instead, you're like, no, it's not me. It's like, for sure you.
Rocco Antonio.
Oh, boy.
Not me. So the building was torn down, and Trump Tower was now being built by union men, and Donald made the odd decision to use a much more costly and very risky method to build it using ready-mixed concrete instead of steel beams, which was the norm.
Right.
This put him at the mercy of union shutdown and the mob,
Okay.
who controlled the ready-mix business completely.
Interesting.
At one point, the general contractor who built the tower had goons enter his office and hold a knife to his throat to demand no-show jobs on Trump Tower.
Hey, don't go up there showing up there with no beams. You understand? Any beam, you get your throat cut. Okay? Think we made ourselves pretty clear.
But Donald wasn't worried because he had Cohn as his lawyer and paid the inflated concrete prices. When
Okay.
Fat Tony Solano was sent to jail years later, Trump Tower was listed as one of the contracts at the trial as part of his racketeering business.
Okay. But it doesn't matter.
He paid off the mob. Now, at this same time, all of the developers in New York were banding together to stop the mob from controlling them,
Right.
except this guy.
Okay.
In 1980, the FBI subpoenaed Donald to find out about his relationship with John Cody, a Teamster official who was close with the Gambino family. Cody supplied concrete trucks and often got free apartments in buildings.
Okay.
Donald denied everything.
Okay.
Cody came under indictment in 1982, and he also ordered a citywide shutdown of concrete work, except at Trump Tower,
Interesting.
where the work just went on at a steady clip.
So,
When the
nothing to see there.
When the tower was finished, a woman with no job bought 3 apartments right under the Trump triplex, which was on top. Donald actually helped her get a $3 million mortgage without filling out a loan application or showing any sort of financial papers.
Oh, boy.
Cody would sometimes stay there, and he did $500,000 work and renovations on the apartments.
Okay.
When Cody was convicted of racketeering and sent to prison, Donald then sued the woman for $250,000 for work she had done in the apartment. She countersued for $20 million and accused Donald of taking kickbacks from contractors and said she would publicize that. Donald suddenly settled and paid her $500,000.
Wow. She really should have gone with $100 million. Anytime you sue him from now on, it has to be for $100 million. Okay. So that's a heartwarming tale.
Yep. Around this time, Fred Jr. died in 1981 at the age of 43, his life cut short by alcohol. He just drank himself to death.
At least Donald never had any.
Mm-hmm. Now, in 1981, Donald was also trying to get into the casino business in Atlantic City. To be in the casino business, you couldn't have any ties to the mob.
Okay.
See where there's a problem right now?
Nope.
And there was usually a lengthy year-long investigation to look into your dealings.
Okay. So surely
Now,
the same regiment will be inserted into this situation.
in New Jersey, Donald acted like he didn't want the mob anywhere near his business. He would never do anything
I hate the
like
mob.
that. And even offered to put an undercover FBI agent in his casinos. He demanded
That's a female body inspector, right?
Yep.
To Trump? Right. Okay.
He demanded a 6-month investigation instead of a year one.
Okay.
And
So is this just a situation of just this is his whole makeup is essentially like he's just the first to demand things, sort of?
Well, he has, in this case, he said he wouldn't build in Atlantic City if it was longer than 6 months. And New Jersey was scared that he would try to build a casino in New York or somewhere nearby and
Right.
kill Atlantic City.
Right.
So they were kind of, over a barrel, like they went for it.
It's a little like what's going on with Amazon right now, building a structure in
It's
some
the same.
city, and they're just like, "What will you give us?"
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay.
Donald was supposed to disclose any investigations into his past, which he did not do.
Sure. Okay.
He did not tell them about a federal grand jury that looked into how he had gotten an option to buy the Penn Central rail yards or the Cody inquiry. Both of those would have stopped him from getting a gaming license.
But then after this experience, surely he learned that full disclosure is the move.
It's true. This is when it all turns
Okay,
around.
that's good.
He got a gaming license in 1982.
Okay.
When his book, The Art of the Deal, came out, in which he described doing things that should have kept him from getting a gaming license, it was an embarrassment to the licensing commission and state investigators.
I mean, yeah, you just don't brag about things you get away with.
My book called No Two Shits Given.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now the Division of Gaming Enforcement, because of the decision they made, is forced to defend Donald Trump, saying mobsters and union bosses are unreliable witnesses and you can't trust what they say.
Sorry. Say that one more time.
So they look bad.
Right.
Because
They
of
look
his
bad.
book.
Right. So they're like,
So now they have to,
instead of admitting the truth,
which is this guy shouldn't have a license,
they're like,
they're defending
Right.
Donald Trump against what the mobsters have said.
Right.
Which is the truth.
right. Okay. Gotcha.
They put Donald under oath.
Boy, God, like that's got a good ring to it.
He said he had nothing to do with the misconduct or that he couldn't remember. And they left it at that. That was the end of their investigation.
I don't get. I
that
wish
was it. They were done at that point. They had
wish,
cleared it all up.
You know, if you could just, not remembering needs to start to become a crime.
Oh my God.
It needs to be like, or you're
Well-
allowed to not remember 2 things. And if you don't remember 3 things, then you're lying. That's it. You get 2 things you can't remember.
No,
Because so far it seems like everyone in government has Alzheimer's.
Now, this is a shame because author Wayne Barrett wrote that Donald met personally with Big Tony Salerno at Roy Cohn's house. Barrett found witnesses that were at the meeting, one of whom kept detailed notes.
Okay.
But gaming enforcement cleared Donald.
Of course.
Many others, including car dealers, have been thrown out of the casino business for much less.
Well, yeah.
Next, Donald bought 100 Central Park South, a 14-story building facing Central Park. He wanted to tear it down and replace it with luxury condos.
Okay.
But the apartments were rent-controlled.
No, that's no good. That helps people.
And the tenants didn't want to leave.
All right. What do we do?
They had a nice low-rent place on
Sure.
Central Park.
Sure.
Donald did not want to buy them out. So,
Oh, gosh.
in the press, he labeled them, quote, people of great wealth and millionaires in mink coats driving Rolls Royces. So he's saying they're rich people taking advantage of rent-controlled prices.
Sure. Well, and if anybody should defend the little man, it's the guy who had Jeeves take him around in a Rolls on his paper route.
Although most of the people were just regular Joes or old people on fixed incomes.
Right.
He told the superintendent.
So his plan is like, let's kick these millionaires out so I can make luxury apartments.
But the press is running with it, so
Of
who
course.
gives a shit?
Well, look, the press is the press.
He told the superintendent to stop doing repairs, stop cleaning, and to stop accepting packages at the building. Donald cut off the hot water and heat during the freezing winters.
Literally icing them out.
One water pipe leak was so bad that mushrooms grew in a renter's carpet.
Oh, my God. Oh, did he try him out?
He allowed a rodent infestation to take hold.
Okay.
He sued one tenant for not paying rent, even though the guy had proof that he had paid rent.
Okay.
The superintendent was also instructed to spy on all the tenants.
Okay.
Some who had done construction on their apartments with approval from prior landlords were told that they had 10 days to restore them to their original conditions.
Okay. Interesting.
He drilled holes in the ceiling above the bed of a cancer patient who was battling for her life
Oh, God.
to get dust to float down.
Ugh.
The building fight would drag on for years. Donald bought newspaper ads offering to shelter homeless people in the building.
Okay. Well, I mean, uh-huh.
But city officials declined, thinking it odd to move the homeless into a building that was scheduled to be demolished. Donald said, quote, "It'll take 2 or 3 years to get everybody out, and in the meantime, I'll have more and more vacant apartments for the indigent."
So he's got, yeah, I mean, this is
cares.
like Mother Teresa, the
Yeah,
landlord.
That's exactly what it is.
Helping.
He's a helping person.
Much like Fred Jesus Christ Trump.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The International Rescue Committee tried to take Donald up on it, seeking temporary housing for Polish exiles.
Okay.
2 letters went
Oh,
unanswered.
God. He's always been a friend of the Polak, hasn't he, DA?
2 letters went unanswered, so the New York Times called Donald's office and were told by a secretary the offer was for Americans, not refugees.
Good Lord. Do we need to put Mr. Barron on the phone?
What? These people don't speak American.
Sorry, I just realized. I mean, Mr. Barron, and then he names his son Baron.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, okay.
No.
This is an homage to a character I used to do.
No one judge ruled the tenants. Not one judge ruled the tenants were being harassed,
Okay.
even though they clearly were being harassed.
Well, I mean, when mushrooms grow on your floor, I think it's time to say
That's
that
produce.
Yeah, these are not okay conditions.
Trump claimed victory, but so did the tenants, as the building was never torn down. Many still have their apartments and pay under $1,000 a month today,
Wow.
though Eric Trump owns a condo on the top floor. But Donald still made a killing as the building.
Does he just drill
value.
holes in the floor and urinate
Oh,
down?
sure, wouldn't
That's
you?
called trickle-down economics.
Don't touch me.
Okay, I'd rather. I told you not to touch me earlier, and I will touch you. You've touched me 3 times. I've touched you once tonight.
In 1981, Donald was part of a group who tried to buy the Baltimore Colts, but was turned down.
Right. Okay. Familiar with that a little bit.
Then came the USFL. It was a new league
Right.
that would play during the spring, summer, whereas the NFL played during the fall
Right.
and winter. And Donald bought the New Jersey Generals in 1984 for around $9 million.
Well, I mean, I think when you look at the legacy of the Generals now, good decision.
The USFL marketed itself as being more fun than the NFL.
Sure.
And the NFL tried to block the USL from getting leases in stadiums that they both used. USFL was very excited to get Donald.
Yeah, I bet.
He generated publicity, and
Right.
he had great business smarts.
Right. Yeah.
And in year 2...
And no Polacks in the league.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And in year 2, Donald replaced the quarterback. He wanted Doug Flutie.
I was just about to. How great would it be if he put himself in as quarterback?
I got this. Have you met my son, Eric?
Yeah. Blue 32. Blue 32. Red 41. Set. Someone else grab it.
He apparently knew absolutely nothing about football this whole time.
Okay.
Never a thing.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to understand that to run a league about it.
So Donald wanted Doug Flutie. He was a big college player,
Yeah.
but short as fuck.
Yep.
The Generals gave Flutie a 6-year deal for $8.3 million, and he was now the highest paid player in all of football, including the NFL.
Right. Okay.
And Flutie sucked ass.
It's weird for Flutie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, okay, you
Yeah.
sure?
I'll take that.
I mean, I'm going to say, yeah, 6 year.
Flutie sucked. So Donald said he wanted a refund.
Oh, God. What? I don't think that's how it works, bud. He said you pay, especially in the NFL or whatever football league.
Now, obviously, Flutie wasn't going to give him money back. So a publicist named John Barron
Here he is.
called the media and said the other USFL owners had actually asked Donald to sign Flutie for the good of the league and made a verbal agreement to help pay part of the contract.
Oh, God. Mr. Barron. I mean, so the man has an imaginary friend. Okay.
An aggressive imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Barron, quote, when a guy goes out and spends more money than a player is worth, he expects to get partial reimbursement from the other owners.
Uh-huh.
This never
Is that, yeah, that's a first, right? Hey, sorry your team sucks. Here's $2 million. Hey, you know how this works. Let's all be really pretty good.
buddies.
Come on. I certainly don't want a situation where one team is using money to their advantage more than another. I mean, that would just be, whoa.
Trump Tower was finished in 1983, a 68-story glass tower. There is a marble lobby with a waterfall with a pianist and violinist playing in tuxedos.
Sure.
And, of course, a grand escalator.
Oh, absolutely.
There is a Trump bar, Trump grill, Trump cafe, Trump's ice cream parlor, and Trump store. The exterior has Trump's name in huge bronze letters.
Mm-hmm.
In 1984, Donald went in on a casino, and the Holiday Inn Casino Hotel was built.
Where is that? At where?
Atlantic City.
Okay.
2 years later, Donald bought the Holiday Inn Casino and renamed it the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino.
Okay. By the way, better ring.
Yeah.
For sure.
Holiday Inn Casino.
Holiday Inn Casino?
It's not good.
Come on.
Come to the Motel 6 Casino.
Come on. Welcome to La Quinta's Gamble House.
We have half-penny slots.
Yeah. You just got to bite them in half.
So he had work done on it. He hired people like cabinet builder Edward Friel, who got a $400,000 contract to build desks and bars and cabinets.
And he made all that money. Good night, his story.
Edward Friel's business had been started in 1949 by his father. The work was finished in 1984, and the final bill submitted to the Trump organization was $83,000. So he'd gotten payments as he went along.
Sure.
And then the final
last
$83,000.
Right. Finish the job, get your last payment.
Yeah, last payment.
Okay.
Move on to the next job.
Great.
Yeah.
What?
Sometime later, Friel got a call asking him to come to the casino offices for a meeting.
Exciting. Just done some great work.
When he got there, he found there were a few other trade guys there too, and they would get called, and one by one they would go in to the office. When it was his turn, Donald told Friel his work was inferior, even though the general contractor had approved it. Donald said Friel would not be getting paid the $83,000. Donald said he would hire him for future jobs, though.
Okay.
Do you see a problem with that?
There's so many problems. I don't know where to really start with it.
So if I hire a guy to fix the gutters on my house,
right,
and the gutters are shitty, and
right.
I say I'm not going to pay him, do I then say, hey, but let's work together later?
Absolutely. You absolutely do. You absolutely. I mean, truly, if you look from Trump's perspective, that's genius, because it is going like, hey, I'm not going to pay you, but if you're cool with not getting paid, let's work together again. That's a great move for me. But it is pretty much a case of this is nobody does this, right?
Well, Edward Friel.
I mean, even today in construction work, for the most part, it's still like it's incremental.
For the most part, there is very, 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 very few people that use this as a business model.
Okay, there you go.
Edward Friel instead hired an attorney to sue for his money. But the attorney advised him Donald would drag the case out in court and legal fees would exceed what they could recover.
And then he'll also get countersued for $100 million.
Right. It would just be a bill that was never paid. And in 1985, Donald bought the Atlantic City Hilton after the Hilton was rejected for a gaming license, and he named it Trump's Castle Hotel Casino. So now he has two casinos.
Okay.
Ivana became vice president of interior design for the Trump organization.
Yes, that needs to be really big and gold.
Yeah,
We need to have a bigger sinks, and I sinks the no roulettes.
And gold.
And the floor makes a pattern.
Oh, gold.
Yes, gold.
And also gold.
Actually, to finish the job, I'm going to need to have 2 more babies. It's for 450 below what we need to be.
She went to work running Trump.
Come on, twins. Every time she gets pregnant, please, twins. Triplets, please. Oh, my God, the magic quintuplets.
Ivana went on to
I could get a yacht.
work running Trump Castle Casino, spending 2 or 3 days a week there.
Well, that's how you run a show.
Ivana was awful to everyone that worked there. She wanted to bring glamour to Trump Castle and was all about appearances. She once moved an unsightly pregnant waitress off the casino floor.
Ugh.
And placed her in a distant lounge where she'd make no money and was out of sight. The waitress was then given a clown suit to wear to disguise her condition.
What the fuck just happened? What? Okay, all right. Let's just break this down a little bit. So you have someone who you're worried is distracting and ruining the vibe of your area based on their pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy
illegal.
into your premise.
Okay, illegal.
Okay, so you move them away.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm buying into your premise, and then you put them in a clown suit. Okay, what the fuck is going on?
Well, you're hiding the pregnancy. Now it's just a
And
big
also,
clown.
don't use your regular voice. You got to be more like that clown who was in the parade.
You're like a fat, happy clown.
Yeah,
oh,
like-
good.
Ooh! And then anytime if anyone asks what is in your belly, say glitter. Say balloons and glitter stored in your belly. By the way, if you have the baby, you give it to me. I split it the 250 with you. If 50-50, maybe I get 200 and you get a 50.
As far as black people, it went as expected.
Boy, Dave, I always love when a sentence on this podcast starts with as for the black people.
Kip Brown, a former employee at Trump Castle, said, quote, when Donald and Ivana came to the casino, the bosses would order all the black people off the floor.
Come on, move. Put on your clown suits. Clown suits.
And put us in back.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, what year is this?
Hey, everybody, Donald and Ivana are coming down, so if all the black people could just get in the basement, thank you.
Okay, guys, let's do it just like we did in rehearsal. Come on, blacks, whites, don't touch. Let's go. It's like we're doing laundry. We're separating.
Jimmy, what are you?
I don't know anymore. I'm so nervous.
You're a black guy.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know which way to go.
You just get out of here. You
Fuck
get
it.
out of here.
Let me do whiteface. Let me put on a clown costume.
That's not how it works, kid.
I don't think I can work it.
All right, fire him. Fire this guy.
You still owe me $50,000.
Oh, yeah, we'll get you, though.
Okay.
We'll get you that, kid.
I feel like you're not gonna.
You're so cute.
Okay.
Joseph Weichelbaum
Well, this sounds like a white man.
ran Donald's personal helicopter service and flew high rollers to his casinos.
Okay.
In 1979, he had been caught embezzling and pleaded guilty to 2 felonies.
Okay.
Now, that should make it so he doesn't work anywhere near a casino.
Right. I guess now that I'm hearing it back, sure.
The casinos were then informed in 1985 that Weichelbaum was indicted in Ohio on charges of trafficking pot and cocaine.
Well, okay. I mean,
That happens.
so what? Yeah.
I mean, he has a helicopter. What's he supposed to do? Not
Yeah,
use
just
it?
what? Look out your window at the left.
Donald, however, kept employing the pilot. This
Sure.
again should have cost Donald Trump his casino license.
Right.
He rented an apartment to Weichelbaum in Trump Plaza for $7,000 in cash a month and flight services.
Oh my God.
So not only did he not boot him out, now he's got him in an apartment
Right.
in Trump Plaza. The pilot's company went bankrupt, and Donald just kept using him. Donald even wrote a letter vouching for Weichelbaum at his sentencing, saying he was, quote, a credit to the community who is conscientious, forthright, and diligent.
I guess if you analyze those qualities, though, none of those say can't be an asshole.
He's forthright.
Yeah,
Right? I mean,
okay.
he comes forward and says, I trafficked cocaine.
Sure.
Weichelbaum got 18 months at the sentencing, while everyone else in the trafficking operation got 20 years.
Wow.
When he was released, he said Donald had a job for him, and then he moved into Trump Tower. Well, it turns out that Weichelbaum's girlfriend had just bought 2 apartments for $2.4 million in cash.
I was hoping you'd say in cocaine. All right, here's a lesson I'm learning throughout all this. Become friends with Trump.
Yeah.
He has your back.
Well, up to a point.
Up to a point. But for the most part, you are you're in.
Yeah, you're in.
You're not, once you're in, you're not out. Unless, of course.
So Donald was flying all over the country doing deals, becoming the businessman he always wanted to be. And on one flight, Jessica Leeds, a traveling businesswoman for a paper company, found herself sitting next to him in first class. They'd never met. And about 45 minutes in, Donald lifted the armrest and started touching her. He grabbed her breasts and slid his hand up her skirt.
Jeez, what year is this?
This should be 85, I believe.
Okay. So he moves okay.
She fled to the back of the plane. Afterwards, she told 4 people about the incident who all confirmed her story. She bumped into Donald at a charity event 2 years later, and he insulted her with a crude remark.
Good Lord. It really is true. Like, I can't imagine not only an era, but just feeling like you could move an armrest up and be like, I'm going to play with your breasts, okay? I'm actually not asking.
Like, to guys like you and me, it's not even like part of a possibility. Like, you sit in that seat and you go, man, the craziest thing that could happen is that a window could pop out.
Yeah.
But like, it would never in a million years pop into my head like, why don't I lift this rest and try and get inside this
woman.
I should be able to touch this lady's vagina right here. I mean, she's sitting next to me.
Look, this is the price of living in 3A, ma'am.
Hey, look, if you're going to be in first class, you get finger banged.
All right.
It says it on the ticket.
It really says something about how creeped out you are by Donald Trump when you leave first class for coach. It takes some real shit to do that.
Donald bought Mar-a-Lago in 1985, 118 rooms in Palm Beach for $10 million. It was Ivana's idea. He spent years just saying that he should only pay $7 million in property tax.
Right. Okay. For sure. Obviously. That's just...
Which you can't do. You can't argue with property tax.
Well, Dave, you're saying it like... I mean, that's like fighting with gravity. The reality is what it is.
So your property tax is on $10 million?
Okay, I'll pay
$100,000.
I'll pay $50. $50.
No.
Last offer.
So that's not how property tax works.
$75 and you get a lemonade. Boom. Done. Over.
Okay, so there's just actually an amount that you pay.
Yeah. $75 and you get a lemonade. I'm going to pay $75 and I'm removing the lemonade. I don't like your attitude. You no longer get lemonade.
Okay, so the actual amount, like I said, is $100,000.
$75 is what I'm willing to pay.
Okay. No.
What? I'm just saying what I'm going to pay. What do you want me to pay?
I'll
pay $75.
That's not.
I'm going to pay you $75. All right, lemonade's back in the mix. 75 on a lemonade. Come on, put it there. Shake my hand.
That's not what this is.
Come on.
This isn't a negotiable thing.
Oh my God! Listen to this person. Am I crazy right now? I'll give you $30. 2 Capri Suns.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Okay, that feels like how most of my deals go.
That's not a deal.
Love watching them walk away.
The Trumps initially kept the decor, but filled many end tables with dozens of silver-framed magazine covers of Donald.
Oh, God. Well, is this where they found a bunch of fake ones?
Oh, is it where they found fake ones?
Yeah, there was a bunch. Like they eventually were just like, "Hey, wait, that wasn't a time."
That's remarkable.
He wasn't on this month of
That's
people.
the best thing ever. He hired an interior designer, but took over himself, quote, because I didn't like some of it and I thought I could do a better job.
Sure. Yeah. Well, as an interior designer, your first instinct isn't to pour gold everywhere.
Hey, the thing about this room is, what about gold?
No, I was actually thinking what would work great with those sort of Victorian drapes would
Gold.
be a nice sort of. Well, I think if you see it all put together, you'll think a little bit more.
Why am I not hearing gold?
Well, because I'm actually telling you what will actually.
Why are you still here?
Okay, well,
say gold.
Oh my God, gold.
Let's do it.
Okay, my God.
The USFL wasn't going the way Donald had hoped. And he somehow convinced the other USFL owners to move from spring to fall to compete directly with the NFL.
Okay.
The plan was to force a merger. In 1986, the owners voted to move and then file a $1.7 billion antitrust lawsuit against the NFL over TV rights. The judge ruled in favor of the USFL.
What? Sorry, this just seems so crazy.
Yep.
It's basically like you show up on someone's land and you're like, you owe me half of your house. And then the government's just like, yeah.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
So the judge agreed, but said the USFL's downfall was its own fault and awarded the league $1 in damages.
Oh, my God. Yes.
The USFL appealed all the way to the Supreme Court, and in the end, they collected a check for $3.76, including interest.
What?
That's 21 cents for each team.
They eventually, out of their lawsuit, got $3.76.
Yeah.
I mean, was the stenographer just doing parenthetical, laughters the whole time? Snickers. They're laughing again.
The USFL never played another game. Donald Trump killed a football league.
Doug Flutie killed the football league because the other owners pressured Donald Trump to sign him. By
You
the way,
shouldn't. Why would you sign a guy who's 5'4"?
may I say something very quickly?
Go ahead.
Doug Flutie, while had a rough start as far as an NFL player, did go on to have some pretty solid success as a Buffalo Bills player. They had Flutie Flakes, and then even beyond that,
that's right.
He's the only guy who I think has ever there's something with he's the only starting quarterback who's ever kicked an extra point or something like that. There's some weird thing.
He was one of those guys that had that intangible winner thing. Like if you looked at him in college, you would be like, yeah, why doesn't someone take a shot on this guy?
Yeah.
But you don't pay him more money than anybody ever.
You certainly don't make a player like that the face of your league without having tested him for sure. But I know Doug Flutie's a fan of the podcast, so I just don't want him to hear this and just get so upset.
Right. And Doug, again, I'm sorry for singing.
Flutie loves the dollop.
I'm sorry for singing We Have Short Shorts so many times to you.
That's true.
But it didn't really matter to Donald because what he got from the entire USFL fiasco was publicity. Quote, before the USFL, I was well known, but not really well known. After taxes, I would say I lost $3 million and I got $1 billion of free publicity.
How is it that, seriously, how is it that, is it just that he's just great at spinning failure, essentially? Because the USFL is a disaster.
But it did get him tons of attention.
Right.
So he's right.
Right.
If your goal isn't to be a developer hiding in the shadows, and your goal is to have your name out in front of everything, then whatever gets your name out works.
Right. Those are always good people.
Between that and the ice rink in New York City, Donald's becoming a very big name. Central Park had an ice rink that had been under repair for 6 years.
Okay. How hard is it to Isn't it just pouring water when it's cold?
There's a fucking special. I think there's a 30 for 30 about the ice rink. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah. So it's an ongoing disaster. The rink became a symbol of dysfunction of city government and disrepair of the city. Total shit show. So Donald says he can have it done in no time.
Okay.
He's basically sticking a knife in Mayor Koch, who he fought with often, and constantly they were bickering. And he said he'd get it done fast, and that would be the reward. So Koch, I always want to call Koch because their name is the same, but Koch.
Right.
Koch called Donald greedy. Donald called Koch incompetent. Koch called Donald a piggy. And Donald called Koch a moron. Like, it just went on for fucking endlessly.
Piggy's pretty good.
He called him a piggy at one point.
Piggy?
Yeah.
Wow.
On and on it goes. With the rink, Donald made it seem like he was doing some big civic duty, and he did it, and the city loved him for it. And now Donald Trump is flying high.
But isn't it? How hard? Doesn't nature take care of everything?
No.
And you just need to make a pool.
You have to have a base for that. You don't just have a pool. Like, it has to be even, and so it has to be properly, constructed on the bottom. It's a pool, but it has to be a very, first of all, freezing it's a difficult way. The way you do it, how you do that, but also it has to be a smooth surface.
Smooth surface, I get. Smooth surface, I get.
Because the first time they tried to do it, it was like
sure
6 fucking feet lower on one end or something. So it can be a shit show.
Okay.
It's also outside. It's not like an indoor rink. It's a little bit harder.
I
know.
I don't know.
You're from Wisconsin. You don't know what's happening.
It's just it's natural. They just happen everywhere. I certainly was raised to believe that rinks just emerge.
Well, you pour beer on the... No?
Yeah, beer skate.
His book, Art of the Deal, sold 800,000 copies in 10 weeks. General Motors agreed to crank out a line of limos called the Trump Series, which Donald pitched and they went with. And then he had them refitted at a garage owned by 2 felons.
Say that again.
the GM was like,
we want to make a luxury car
let's do a
called
Trump series, right? And that's Trump's pitch. And they were like, yeah, we'll make a Trump series. And then the idea was that he would take them and fit them up and retrofit them or whatever and put Trump all over them and then sell them, right? It's a Trump car.
Right.
And of course, he had it done at a garage owned by two felons. Donald bought an airline and named it the Trump Shuttle. He had a powerboat race called the Trump Castle World Championships that only resulted in one death. And he started a bike race called the Tour de Trump.
What the fuck? Oh, my God.
Should we split this into two? What time are we at?
Oh.
1:36. Yeah, we'll do two. So let me hit a point where I'll do it up until... Yeah. Okay. So life is going well at the family's place.
By the way, I'm shocked it's an hour 36 already.
It's crazy. Life is going well at the family's place at Trump Tower, right? They've moved into the penthouse. They got that triplex situation.
Sure.
It's a 53-room triplex with a rooftop park.
Is the best place to put a park on a roof?
It is for me.
Okay. Your kid fell off the slide and he's dead. Hey.
The penthouse's entrance corridor is covered in gold and mirrors. It was beautiful inside. Lots of gold and mirrors and mirrored walls and mirrored ceilings and gold. The living room had 29-foot-high ceilings and an erupting fountain. The dining room...
erupting fountain?
Yep.
The lava! Run, everybody, run!
The dining room, 2 stories, and featured carved ivory, and there's marble from a castle, quote, castle in Italy, and a chandelier that hung, quote, in a castle in Austria. So they have a normal life.
Yeah, no, everything seems fine. I think we all grew up with exploding fountains and gold mirror.
Ivana said the king of pop, Michael Jackson, often visited the family when he lived in Trump Tower. Quote, he'd stop by and chat with Donald and me for 20 minutes, and then he'd go up to the kids' floor to hang out with them for hours and hours.
I think we found our break point.
They'd watch MTV, play Mario Brothers or Tetris, and build Trump Tower in Legos. Michael was 30 years old. He could relate to Ivanka and the boys better than us.
Oh, my God. I mean, oh, my God.
Zamalessa is here.
I just can't imagine talking to Michael Jackson for 20 minutes. It just seems like it would be insane.
A fucking shit show.
Like, yeah.
What pajamas are you wearing is the first.
So, and what's your favorite kind of pillow? Okay. Do you want to know my favorite kind of pillow?
That's him talking to Donald.
No.
So, Donald, do you want to know my favorite
Yeah, but you know what? Because you know what Trump's favorite kind of pillow is?
Huh.
The Trump pillow.
Trump pillow. Bubbles likes the Trump pillow.
Okay, I gotta go.
You know what my favorite kind of sock is?
Mm.
You ever want to go to the park and fly a kite?
No.
I'm 32.
I know you are.
Want to play with slime?
No.
We should take nappies.
No.
Let's go splash each other.
No.
Get a bucket and we'll splash each other,
No.
Donald. Ha!
No.
We're splashing each other.
No, we're
We're
not.
splashing each other.
No. Get out of here.
Say we're 9.
We're
We're
9?
never going to get old.
Don't touch me.
We're going to live forever.
No, we're not.
Yeah. I know a place.
No?
They got golden waterfall.
Hi.
You like that, don't
Yeah.
you? Get on there, get yourself a nice golden
Can I buy this?
shower.
How much is this? What?
$50 million.
What?
Have a sip of this Coke. There's wine inside.
In
It's
1986,
called Jesus juice.
In 1986, there was a high-end Bulgari jewelry store in New York. Bulgari. I think that's still a chain, right?
I'm familiar with it, but I would not be surprised if the pronunciation was wrong.
Donald would go into the store with a woman, hopefully his wife, probably not.
Great.
And he would buy her an expensive necklace.
Sure.
Usually, this transaction would include the New York City tax and the state sales tax.
Sure.
But Donald would ask the store to ship the jewelry to an out-of-state location where no New York sales tax could be collected.
That's a fun experience for someone to go into a jewelry store and find out in 6 weeks you can go collect it out of state.
The store would then just send an empty jewelry box to the location, and Donald would walk out the door with the jewelry.
Wow.
The state and city tax collectors eventually caught on, and Donald testified against the people at the jewelry store.
Oh, my God. Jesus. Aaron, look at Aaron. Aaron's getting hurt over there. Aaron's head dropped into his hand. He didn't know we were looking either. That was a genuine reaction.
Apparently, a ton of rich people were doing this at this jewelry store.
Okay.
Around this time, Donald's connection to the mob and bad boy lawyer Roy Cohn was so his connection to the mob, right? Roy Cohn. He is disbarred for attempting to steal from a client, lying, and other conduct that an appellate court found, quote, particularly reprehensible.
Okay.
Donald was there for him. He testified that Cohn, who was dying from AIDS, was a man of good character and should keep his license to practice law.
Okay. That's nice.
Even though he's totally mobbed up.
Right.
Now, he's got his casinos, and mobster Robert Libuti becomes a frequent customer at Donald's casinos. He's a horse dealer. And he has,
you guys need heroin?
No. No, not that kind of. Actual horses.
What do you guys need, huh? Little Molly? What are you ponies after, huh? What does an equine take to relax is my question.
So he has close ties to the Gambino crime boss, John Gotti.
Sure.
And Donald bends over backwards for this mobster, no matter how horrific his behavior. And he was very well known for his temper tantrums.
Okay.
That's a good place to end. And
I
come back
think
next
that
week. All right, yeah. Or we'll just do it back to back.
We'll finish it tonight, but
yeah, because the second half is where it gets fucking insane.
Oh, I'm sure
Starting
everybody
here.
likes to hear that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week for more about the sitting president. Hey, dollheads, calling the Gare Force. This is getting a little weird, I agree. Hey, I'm going to be on the road doing stand-up comedy. Come see me. Go to GarethReynolds.com for all these tickets and information. Follow me at ReynoldsGareth on all the socials. I will be in Portland November 1st through November 3rd. I will be in Eugene, Oregon, November 4th. I'll be in Bend November 5th. Seattle, November 6th. 2 shows. First one sold out. November 7th, I'll be in Vancouver. I'll be in Philly, December 27th, 28th, 29th, and then I'll be doing New Year's in Austin, Texas at Cap City Comedy. And January 4th, you can see me in Burbank, California. Let's keep them coming. I'll also be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, January 12th, San Francisco, February 12th, and Sacramento, February 13th. GarethReynolds.com for tickets and information.
Hi, I'm Gary Bell of the law firm of Bell & Pollock. If you're injured in a car crash, you're going to want a legal game plan. Why? Who cares? You do, and I'll show you why. But you have to listen to our podcast, Legal Injury Hub, wherever you get your podcasts.